Alright, so you guys ain't seen me in a while. I figured I'll jump back, man, and fakers and wow. I know something led me to speak about something. And I've learned that I'm not gonna say everything is witchcraft, but something came to my attention. All right, and I can say that everything has a sense or a form of sorcery in it, or alchemy, should I say? Right. All right. So what was brought to my attention was something about verbal expression. All right, and the topic kind of sparked this epiphany for me to even go down this I ain't gonna say rabbit hole, but it's just something that kind of got my attention to where I kind of want to address it. All right, well, initially what sparked this was about battle rapping, and I was telling the guy, like, man, you got no idea, like, that's why I don't get into battle rapping, because it's like that I'm just not into slandering a person, you know what I'm saying, or bashing a person. And then it led me to express something about spell work. And it's like, in battle rapping, you notice, well, it started from this. I'm like, okay, you cast the spells from each other, one person to the next, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, a person get under that spell work for a little bit of cash, you know what I'm saying? And that's, they don't be understanding ahead of time, like, I'm not gonna say it's permanent, but it makes more of an impact than what a person thinks. Now, you might just be hearing it, just be a person will say just playing with words, but I don't look at it that way. I look at a person that's really playing with spells. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I say something about you, or I verbally express and write and subject you to a vision of mine, and I cast it upon you verbally, right? The impact of just that verbal expression is going to end up being a subjection and objection to the next person, who is required to apply some type of resistance to deflect that, maybe mentally, physically, in a sense. But the way I see things is just a little different. So my mind just warped into seeing a different realm of that type of scenario. You know what I mean? And man, I was like, man, you got two people going at it with each other, like, and that person is casting this type of reality upon you. You know what I mean? And other people that hear it, they're actually occupying this same illusion. You see what I'm saying? So if I go to talk about this dude and how he looked like a dude that sleep up under a bridge with such type of clothes, everybody that hear that is visualizing the illusion that I'm expressing. You know what I'm saying? And that person that is being spoken about, he cannot deny the fact that he's visualizing what he's hearing as well. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, like, people don't understand how powerful words are. People just do not understand it. I'm very poetic, and I'm kind of sensible with the way I express myself, especially in writing. Like, I'm finding a better way to verbally express and articulate myself. I mean, I ain't the best communicator, but I'm learning to get better, and I strive to become a better, communicator. But it's like, man, when I addressed that little scenario, I was like, that's not something that I would even like to entertain. It don't make you, I don't see no form of being able to applaud someone who has the ability to just belittle or degrade someone. You know what I'm saying? That's like, it's a form of blasphemy to me, because I feel like you're belittling or bringing to nothing or to naught God's work. When you speak about a person, even if it's just business, and you talking about we just in here it's just business and it's for fun, and we just rap battling for, you know what I'm saying, a little common gain or some money, Like, nah, bro, like, that's not how I rock with those words, man. I'm very careful with that. And I try my best to elude that type of exchange between me and another Adam. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the information that I would want to project upon another. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something that, yeah, man, got my attention. And it kind of warped me to, you know, just at this point of noticing how powerful words are, you know, and people needing to be more mindful of how substantial words actually are. Words are very tangible. Little do you know. Like, I can speak about a past experience, and I can describe it to you verbally. And once I describe it to you, oh, you're inheriting the audible frequency of what I'm expressing, and you're now having a visualization of what I'm expressing, and now you're in that experience in real time based off of me conveying the description of such. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, you know,
hey, Rick at that.
Even when you pray, or even when you're just going about your day and you see some things, or you may find yourself just I guess unconsciously speaking or responding, not really thinking about what you're saying, but you're just saying it, and then not really realizing how evident it actually is to the environment. So even your thoughts have value. I mean, I'm just getting to this point because it's like, okay, what you think about, you bring about, yeah, but also what you speak about, you bring about. And it's not, I mean, a person can carry that verbal expression on with them. It can be so substantial that it'll be a permanent memory within another individual for the rest of that person's life. And that person never really actually experienced the experience, only through my verbalization of describing it. You know what I'm saying? And this is actually an actuality now. It may not be something tangible for everyone to see, but it has now been inherited to the next Adam or person, you know? And it's like, man, you know, even with music that we hear today, to, you know, what we see on commercials and TV and the media, you know what I'm saying? And all the stuff we experience, I got to the point where I realized that prayer is a lot more diverse and vast than what we actually understand from a domestic predominating logical sense. You know what I mean? It's like every gesture that I make is like an expression. And this expression that I'm making is still, it can be verbalized, yeah, but it's an expression. Everything that I'm feeling, I can also describe it verbally, right? But everything that I describe verbally, I can also put into action. And this fundamental basis of expression, I find to be like an absolute gesture of praise. And in my praise or my veneration, I would never subject my God to my disgust. I would never write imperfection upon anything that I witness. No matter if it's a flake of paint that really a person would find to serve no purpose, but for some reason has so much significance in this moment right now. This fleck of paint has so much significance, and it serves to be just that significant in equity, or just as equal as I am in the moment. And even in the imperfection, I find the perfection in such. So I'm saying that to say, man, be watchful over the words you speak. Be very watchful over the words you speak. And then it's like, man, for me to have the audacity to express a distaste or an unpleasantness is something that I have been given the liberty and the authority to be able to give off as a gesture. God has given me a preference, which, if I had been given options, I've been found just that more valuable in either aspect of existence, to be real, whether I'm immoral or I'm moral. You know what I'm saying? And that is only leading me to a point of finding that even good and bad is in a culmination is just a coinciding of just an absolute praise. And we witness the opposing sides in time and space, or in the succession of time and space, as God elaborating oneself. So it's like you're the elaboration of God. And I look at God as like the drop of all possibility, like the utter readiness to be whatever, to be and not to be at the same time. You know, it's just that willing, that gives rise to an ascension and dissension. And it's like what better way to expound oneself if God hadn't have broken himself down at a disintegrating state to integrate, in order for us to have our own individuality. So I'm just saying all that to say, not to take you all out of form of what, but everything is interconnected. Everything has an impactful influence on the next thing, no matter what it is. We may see or feel like our words and what we say aren't permanent, but within the air carries so much more of an identity than what you can really actually comprehend. We can say air, we can say water. I look at like air is like an inheritance that I've reaped from my ancestors. My ancestors have utilized this very same air. I see water the same way, right? And I feel like every breath that our ancestors have taken, we share the same air. No matter how it's been cycled, I'm finding that we are sustained by our ancestors, but also just, fundamentally, or just to the derivative of just being sustained by God, right? But integration all the way to its derivative is God, right? So, society all in itself is just the disintegration of that type of integration of God. God just being atomized to the smallest, finest point to none. You understand? And there's so many ways I can go with this topic, but just for my ears to be moved or to be just that fine and equipped enough or sensible enough to make substance of the words I project and others project. The volume in which we speak is so substantial. We need not overlook I would say the actual seriousness or the importance of our expressions. That is something I find to be very, 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 very valuable to God. In the midst of our artistry, I'm finding that to be a very important thing, a very vital thing in life, because we have an image. You see my arm, my legs, my arm, my head. You see a formality of being. That is something fixed, right? That means that's an actual preference there. That's something I find to be a deliberation. This is something that's deliberate from God, and that's a blatant expression from God. You know what I mean? So I can't fall far from that deliberation to find that some form of an appraisal of my worth in it either. To see how valuable I am as an individual being. So in that essence of how precious all things are down to none that is found to be worthy before my witnessing, I find that to be very significant. And I find a prerequisite or requirement laid upon me that I am called to give my praise or veneration to, because it belongs to my witnessing. It was made for my very observation. So if I come before the next man that's likely to myself, I could not fix myself in no form or way to dismantle that individual, break that person down to nothing, cast spell work upon a person based off of A, B, C, and D, and cast this type of sorcery over a person to make them nothing, to bring about some form of a disgrace upon that person. I couldn't do it. But I just realized that even everything that I've been raised and programmed to be, the identity of me, everything about all my knowing is made up of names and shapes. And I realized that even me growing up in my church, in my religion, I realized that I found God through the very verbal expression, the same verbal expression. I didn't know one God. I didn't know any of these things until I was introduced to some form of a sorcery or spell work, such as A, B, C, and D. Outside of a verbal expression, I would still be living the fundamental basis of a creature. But I have been granted, see what I'm saying, an authority. I've been granted, a gift that I've inherited, such as a verbal expression, to actually have the ability to expound, to elaborate, the finest detail of what is and isn't. And this has been established, I feel like, and bestowed upon humanity from a higher power, such as God. And how could I exclude the actual fact thereof of noticing that even in the church, even though they say things about spell work or sorcery or stuff like that, what you're saying, witchcraft or whatever, is demonic, but why is that the fundamental basis to the whole religion? I can't exclude that there's something being veiled from me or hidden from me about spell work. There's something more to what alchemy is that most elders in the church may not have the mental capacity to digest, the stomach to digest, maybe, but a verbal expression is a factual thing of spell work. It's exactly what it is. The Bible was written from that same form of what you would probably call sorcery, but it's still a spell. It's still spell work. So how could I sit here and be outside of the actuality of what is really going on? You know what I mean? So for those who don't understand, what it means to take something and use it for good or take something and use it for bad. There is a good form of alchemy and then there's a bad form of alchemy. And we have entities that govern our ability to govern our works when it comes down to alchemizing things. So just be careful about how you use your words and how you meddle with the spiritual realm of things. I trust my God and my truth that I bring forth, and I have no discouragement about my truth. But I just had to share this because it led me to this point of having to express something. I knew it was something I was about to speak about today. I didn't know what it was, but I'm at the actual point of what I'm making, and I'm just saying that to say alchemy was a gift to us. It is. And there's more to what's been provided to us by our government. That's just the truth. And if you're not going to be accountable enough for your own life, to do your own homework and research, to invest yourself into God enough to become so receptive to where you can allow God to be accessible through every angle, it will be very difficult for you to find the way of what really is true and what's false. So until next time, man, I hope this sparks somewhat of a new insight for you. But I pray that this is some very useful information for you. I pray that this may enough sense for you, I pray that this inspires you to personify love in a more absolute way in this world. It's not all about the right rights and the right wrongs. Just a thing without a cause, to me, is a sin. And just know that there is a God that has given and orchestrated this all and has the authority over every all right, gesture of an atom. Every activity within an atom is governed by God. So do not become discouraged for what you do not know or what your mind may have a difficulty being able to obtain. But until next time, man, I love you.